Hey YouTube, it's your girl Aisha, aka Geek XX Chic, and I am back with another reaction to The Gifted. Yes, we are now on episode 4 of season 1, which is called Exit Strategy. So, considering last week's was called Exodus, kind of interesting. I kind of thought we would actually have a prison break in the last episode, potentially, or an attempt at one, but little misdirection by the show's part. We now have one called Exit Strategy, so my guess is we're gonna again attempt a prison break to bust both Reed and Lorna out of jail. So just a quick recap of where we left off in episode 3. Basically, we saw that Reed was supposed to lead Jace and the other Sentinel services to the Mutant Underground by basically convincing whoever their contact was at the bar. I'm gonna call him Mirror Man because he can kind of, looks like he reflects surfaces. But anyway, he was supposed to go through him to get to his family, of course, and lead Sentinel services to the Underground and get his family out and safe in exchange. But halfway through, Reed finally got a chance to see the plight of the mutants and what's going on with all of the unjust treatment that's happening to them. And much like his wife experienced in the last couple of episodes, he's starting to really understand the actual humane element of what's going on here. And he realized that, you know what, I can't do this, even though I love my family. Giving up all these people, I can't live with that. So Reed abandoned mission. And of course, we know that it didn't go well for him because we got word at the end of the episode via Caitlin's brother that they're transporting 2 prisoners, one of them being Reed, and of course the other one we know being Lorna, to the Sentinel holding facility. And that's where Jace warned last episode was apparently a very bad place, especially for mutants, because it first of all, it doesn't sound like anyone ever leaves, and second of all, he said something like, I'll get whatever I need out of you there. And of course, with Team Mutant, we also had some issues within the ranks, primarily with Dreamer, who we'd only seen in bits and pieces in episodes 1 and 2. But in the last episode, she definitely became more predominant. She put memories of herself and John, aka Thunderbird, into Clarice's mind so that Clarice would think that they had a relationship, and it gave her the confidence to get past her performance anxiety about her portals and make a portal big enough to make or help Johnny escape. But of course, as Johnny said, there's definitely going to be some repercussions for what she did because, well, you know, now she believes the 2 of them are in a relationship, and it's going to be real awkward to try to explain that it didn't happen. Trust issues all over the place, but I talked a little bit more about that in the last video. So let's get into it. Let's go. Ooh. That's cool.
The same son of a bitch who tried to use my unborn child to get me to turn against my friends is going to prison with me?
Karma.
Is it my birthday?
Okay.
I still don't trust Clarice.
That is so screwed.
Yep.
We'll figure something out. Sometimes you just gotta take a risk and hope for the best.
Right.
No.
No.
We should.
You know, she seems fine. I really don't think it's necessary.
Sonia, it's wrong.
Yep.
You gave her a memory that isn't hers without her permission.
Look, I know that you're not happy with what I did. But I had no choice.
Yeah, you did.
Okay? I had to save you. All of you. This is a war, Johnny. In case you forgot.
That's one of the ones that's not going to stick around with this group. I can feel it. The reggaeton?
Relax. I'm messing with you.
No, she's not.
Time ago.
Women never forget.
Do you want to be my friend again?
No, it's not worth it, Carlos. You should have brought a mind reader. Talk about deals with the devil. Kind of knew this would escalate because Clarice already liked him. So it's kind of feeding a little bit of the real with the fake.
I want these hands. These talented hands. Can you break a truck wheel? You did that thing with the parking meter.
No, You mean meters. I meant to break one. Look, it's not exactly...
Can't control it.
Okay,
Maybe we could use what I do to, focus what you do.
I don't follow.
Finally thinking. That was awesome. That's cool.
You know what? Ask the hundreds of families whose lives you and your friends ruined. Don't ask me.
Yep. Hormonal pregnant girl, Reed. No forgiveness here right now.
Self. There are risks worth taking.
No double standards gonna fly today.
We just need them to stop the bus. They get out of there as soon as that's done.
Yeah, that'll happen. Especially with your sparky little boy there. Okay, girl. Somebody's in heat.
Hey, you're the reason we're in this mess, and now you can't even help us get out.
doing?
Maybe those bullies
He needs to get him mad.
Maybe you are nothing.
She's right. Anger works.
Sorry. You're better when you're angry.
We can argue later.
Very opposite of Hulk statement.
Is your hate for me worth more than giving your child a real life?
Ever the manipulator.
Why did the bus stop in the right place?
I don't know, it doesn't matter now, let's find it.
Well, damn.
Damn.
They didn't see me then. They won't see me now.
I don't like this, bruh. If you kill a brother, man, don't do this to me, show. Don't do it. I'm not okay with a brother dying for this, man. To the, oh no, my brother, no!
Contact! You, on the ground!
Damn
On the
it!
ground, now!
I knew it! F this show.
Not when I knew him. He was my best friend.
Okay, we don't have time for this. Can we knock him out?
But I need you to go. Now.
You don't have your powers, kids. You're not that helpful right now. Go. Well, that plan went terribly.
Come on, please!
Knock him out. Don't talk to him, please. I warned you not to talk. Thank you. Jesus.
There's nothing in here I can use. It's all plastic. Everything metal's outside.
His knee. Oh my God, am I gonna use his knee screws? Use his knee screws. I'm sorry, Reed, but.
My leg. The metal screw in my leg.
It's good.
Take it.
Do it.
Take it.
It's at least the he deserves. It's for your baby. She's like, ew. Damn. There we go. Sauna popping now. Look at him double teaming. I like it.
All teams shoot to kill now. Now!
You're gonna shoot, seriously, you're gonna shoot something metallic at her? Okay, that's gonna go well. Idiots.
Looks like she's doing just fine without you. Fall back.
Let's go! Okay, no time for huggy huggy. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. No time. You get out of this car, bitch.
Now, we'll get him. I don't just want them! Shut down every safe house, every sympathizer, anyone who's ever helped. I want them all.
Damn! You ain't gotta be like that, Jace. Well, we ended on a feisty note. So that was episode 4 named Exit Strategy. And yeah, I like how that baby picked up towards the end. That was fun. So yeah, I guess some interesting points. I feel like the first half of this episode dragged a little bit, but again, I'm okay with it because again, like I said, I don't necessarily need the constant non-stop action, and I also know that financially speaking, doing a crazy special effects every episode gets expensive, but it was a little bit slow in the beginning, but I'm kind of glad we had that moment with Reed and Polaris in the jail. I know some people might come at Polaris and be like, well, why was she so mean to Reed when Reed was trying to apologize? But I'm kind of glad she wasn't just so quick to just forgive him, because the reality is Reed's caused a lot of suffering, and just because he's now starting to feel a little bit of conscience because it's personally affecting him, I think Polaris really need to drive home to him why it's so important that going forward, he really isn't just, you know, working with the mutants to get the means to an end, which is kind of why he did this in the first place, but really so that he understands he's got to stand up for mutants going forward. It can't just be a matter of, you know, passive, well, I'm going to use you guys to get my family out of the country, and then, you know, maybe potentially go back to it's not my problem. So I'm really glad that, you know, they kind of have that real come to Jesus moment there in the prison. But also the Polaris, obviously, I think she automatically started to feel some empathy for Reed as soon as she heard that his children were mutants. But I think she really needs to drive it home for him that this is not just, you know, our problem anymore. It's like it's your problem and every other non-mutant's problem that, you know, we're being horribly mistreated, you know, by a system that's rigged to make us, you know, suffer, basically. So that was a cool and interesting interaction in the prison. The whole thing with Eclipse and the cartel, interesting piece of information that we got about his past there. We didn't hear anything before about where he came from outside of the fact that he was on the streets after he discovered his powers, but I guess it makes sense that there was a gap in time, obviously, between him being homeless and without a family and when he got found by the Mutant Underground. So it looks like in that time, he was filling that time with a cartel, which is obviously not great. I like how the show keeps adding like a few extra little wrinkles here and there to make it a little bit more, you know, interesting, raising the stakes a little bit. And now we know from Marcos, you know, this wasn't a no strings attached escape. Like now that he managed to save Polaris for now, he's now looped himself back in with the cartel, and it'll be interesting to see how he handles that because he can't just dismiss them. I like that they brought in this interesting kind of dangerous dynamic now of how Marcos is going to try to navigate these two lives because I can't see how they're not going to intersect it some way. What I'd like to see or would be interesting is if somehow Marcos found a way to get the cartel to work with them, because right now obviously the underground is woefully at a disadvantage with Sentinel services coming after them so hard. I mean, we saw at the end there, Jace is pissed, okay? Jace is not taking the fact that he lost not one, but two major prisoners, and he still doesn't have the underground. So he's literally back at square one, and that can't feel good to not only the fact that he's got to report to people, but we already know he's got his own personal agenda against mutants as well. So yeah, he's not gonna stop. Like, it looks like he's gonna push the, you know, he's gonna turn the screws. Very interesting that he mentioned shut down the safe houses and the sympathizers. Like, we're getting into some pretty serious territory now. Right now, we're not just going after mutants. Now he's going after innocents, and that's, you know, that's when things get bad. You know, we all know that whenever you start to do this kind of mass oppression like this, it just creates a pressure cooker and it's gonna blow in some way. Also love the power combining of the sibling Struckers. I think this is the kind of thing that scientist that we saw in the last episode, the doctor, he's probably interested in those types of phenomenons because we haven't really seen two mutants combine their powers before. Like, we saw a little taste of it in the last episode with Eclipse and Polaris, you know, creating that Aurora Borealis around them. So clearly there is some kind of mixing and matching that could happen. So now that we've got the Strucker, you know, kids doing this, it just kind of makes me wonder what other possible combinations we could have. Yeah, I thought that was just really neat, and I hope we get to see more of the powers working together, potentially to make a super weapon in the future. Also, what I kind of called back in episode 2, I believe it was, that moment where we had Lauren yelling at Andy, and, you know, to get him angry to use his powers. Even though she said it was for the sake of getting him mad, I think a lot of those words were truth. I think that they didn't just come out of thin air. They're definitely things that she's been thinking probably for a while now. And I think it's really hitting her, like when she mentioned the fact that there was the bake sale that she was missing. Like, it's starting to slowly build up for her that her old life is slipping away and she's maybe not so sure if she's ready to let go of it. So yeah, we're starting to see that start to come together. Whereas on the other side, we see Andy, and Andy is just, you know, he's reality central, you know, which is very interesting. They're on they're in such different pages. You know, she's very much, you know, Lauren's like, I want to go back to my old life. I want to be normal again. I want to be able to go to high school and make corn muffins and just live a good old fashioned life. Andy's like, screw my old life. I got powers now. Anyone who stands in my way gets vaporized. I don't want to keep hiding. Like, you know, we've definitely got a Magneto and a Charles Xavier going on right here in this family. So even though we don't have these big figures in the wider Marvel world that they're creating here, there definitely are influences still being trickled down into these, right down to these two children. And obviously we're seeing a little bit of that in the underground as well. You know, seeing John, aka Thunderbird, who wants to again go for a peaceful, let's get together and work together route, whereas we've got other mutants who don't feel like they should be inhibited in how they use their powers, like the Dreamer. And I feel like Dreamer's at some point going to potentially faction off. There's gonna be a faction, there's gonna be a split at some point. Some kind of fracturing is going to happen with this group. It's just a matter of what the catalyst will be to make that happen. We'll see what happens between John and Clarice, because Clarice is clearly not letting go of the whole thing that happened with Dreamer's memories. And like I said during the episode, clearly her emotions, like she felt something for John. Maybe it wasn't, of course, as intense as what Dreamer put into her mind, but clearly she already liked John, and now I think that's mixing with the fake memories. And I just think it's really kind of crappy that they're not, I really think John should have just told her, but I understand that the timing just wasn't great. Reed's knee screws, my gosh, guys. Oh man, Reed can't walk no more. But I knew that they brought it up in the first episode that those knee screws was gonna come back somehow and become a story point. You don't just mention something like that for no reason. So thank you, Reed. Your knees saved us in this case, and I love how she pulled them out and turned them into like darts to kill that guard. Like, oh, Polaris is just boss. That's all there is to it. I am a Polaris fan. Just keep doing stuff with her. I love what she's capable of doing. So yeah, that's pretty much the episode, guys. I liked it. Again, looking forward to episode 5. It's gonna be interesting to see where they're gonna go now that the heat is definitely gonna be turned up now with this prison break. What did you guys think of this episode? And what do you think is next for the Mutant Underground? Please leave your comments below. You know that I love to read them. And if you like this video, go ahead, please, and click like. And if you wanna see more from this geeky face, go ahead and click subscribe. Until next time, see ya.